The Walking Dead is a franchise that has been part of most of our lives for longer than a decade now. Even if you're not a diehard fan of the series, you've without a doubt heard of it before or seen a meme inspired from the show. No show on the planet was more popular than The Walking Dead in its prime, and every single Sunday millions of families across America were spiritually and emotionally invested in the survival of Rick Grimes. In the year 2024, it's somewhat of a zombie-infested ghost town itself. The diehard Day One fans are still there somewhat, but the direction the series has taken in its later years has even made some of its most dedicated viewers fall out of tuning into the show. The main moment in the series' history that most of the fanbase marks as its permanent downfall was its season 7 premiere. The day will come when you won't be. You can say I'm exaggerating if you want, but I genuinely have never been the same since watching this episode. It brought me to tears and made me throw up and decide that I would no longer be watching my favorite show. And over 10 million others felt the same way as me and stopped watching the show from this moment forward. Its popularity never recovered from the death of Glenn. Both in and outside of the universe of the show, it just never felt the same. And this effect continued to reverberate throughout the story's 8th season, when it was revealed to us that Carl Grimes, a main character and the son of our lead Rick Grimes, was bitten by a walker and would be meeting the same fate that Glenn did. The direction that showrunner Scott Gimple took the franchise over the course of season 6, 7, and 8 are honestly some of the most heavily scrutinized and critiqued portions of the show. And while season 6 is my favorite season, I definitely agree that Scott Gimple's directions and his overall decisions during this time seem to be a main cause of the state the franchise is in as a whole today. It seems that the showrunners forgot that the viewers grow up with the characters. Some, including myself, had been watching the series premiere when we were only 8 years old. So to grow up with these characters, following their lives and survival journeys week to week, you really begin to feel like you're there and in it, surviving with them. It becomes part of your weekly routine, especially when watching it with family. And when you see these characters you've been following for the better part of a decade get unalived in the most horrible ways, it's honestly very traumatizing and hard to continue viewing. And some of you may be thinking, it's a zombie show. If you don't like zombies, don't watch it. But those people seem to be forgetting that on its own, the setting of zombies is genuinely pretty boring. I mean, we can only follow these characters surviving daily life for a certain amount of time before it starts to feel repetitive. And I understand that they feel the need to use shock value in order to keep the stakes high and make viewers feel like anything could happen at any time. However, with a long-running drama series like this, I feel you have to have some kind of long-term payoff for investment for fans of the series who watch the show from the beginning. If you don't incentivize us to keep watching our favorite main characters from the first 4 seasons of the show by brutally unaliving all of them, only to replace them with way less significant main leads that we have no emotional attachment to, you're definitely going to lose a lot of the reasons people watch the show in the first place. With that being said, the true nail in the coffin appeared when Rick Grimes left during the show's 9th season, at a point where the show was actually beginning a major increase in quality, something that left the fanbase pretty much dead and awaiting Rick's return throughout his new series, The Ones Who Live. And that finally came out, and it was ass. We all highly anticipated this for years now, and it finally drops in February of 2024. The first few episodes are fire, like absolutely peak cinema, and then it just declines into this absolutely cheesy and goofy story about how Rick and Michonne's plot armor allows them to survive 4 helicopter crashes, a global military force, and 2 chemical bombings, all in the span of 6 episodes. I was really excited to make review content for The Ones Who Live back when it was releasing, but the rushing of the CRM storyline after several years of hype and build-up honestly killed all of my motivation to speak on the franchise again, until I remembered that there are still other spin-offs. The Walking Dead Dead City and The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon are just 2 of the new entries coming to this MCU-level franchise very soon this year, Dead City being another spin-off that absolutely irritates me just by existing, as it undoes all of the character development given to Negan after his imprisonment in the season 8 finale, solely to give false interest in the series again through the return of Negan. One of the most emotional and poignant moments in the entire series was when Maggie sat down with Negan in the main show series finale and tearfully told him that while she accepts he has become a new man and a better person, she will never truly be able to forgive him for what he did to Glenn. And literally all of that is undone in Dead City, when you learn that Maggie actually still wants Negan dead and that Negan is now going to lead another evil gang in the same way that he did the Saviors. It's the same complaint I have with the character of Morgan, someone I loved throughout the earlier seasons of the show because of his character's evolution from father to maniac psycho to peaceful nomadic charismatic pacifist that has the power to destroy but chooses not to. Yet all of that is once again undone so they can make Morgan crazy again and decide to run over to Fear the Walking Dead to try and save their rating. Ultimately, the writer's room over the last half of the main show and its spin-offs have been all over the place, the introductions of variants being an incredibly interesting concept meant to save the series, but overall was introduced way too late into its life cycle. But the one hidden gem in the sea of disappointment, very surprisingly to me, has been The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon. I never understood why everyone was glazing Daryl in the main show, but this spin-off series definitely made it all make sense. Daryl is the badass Walking Dead character, and this series is movie quality. It follows Daryl as he ends up on a mission in France to save a young boy who is said to be one of the leaders of the New World. During this, Daryl begins to uncover more about the global plot of the CRM and what their plan is for the zombie virus. It's shot very beautifully as if it were a movie all the way through, and its focus on religion and the search of meaning in such a bleak setting is genuinely my favorite thing about it. I also really love the variance and how the series has handled the walkers and their evolution over time. I do believe there's a line they have to walk to prevent it from getting absolutely stupid, but the concept itself ties up a loose end introduced from the earlier seasons, and it adds a whole new layer of potential danger for our characters to follow in the story moving forward. But with all that being said, is there any hope for The Walking Dead to ever return to its former popularity? As someone who has loved this series in all of its different forms since 2009, I can say that it means more to me than any other franchise that I've come across, and it would mean the world to me to see the world talking about it and obsessing over it as we all once did. However, I do understand that the current climate just isn't the same as it was back then. TV shows now rarely air new episodes week to week and instead opt to release an entire season at once on streaming platforms. Not only that, zombies are nowhere near as popular now as they were during the 2010s. You don't see half as many zombie apocalypse survival video games, TV shows, or movies nowadays, and it's because the genre as a whole can only be done so many times without creative changes before people get tired of it. I don't think that it's entirely impossible for The Walking Dead to gain a massive boost in popularity, but the only way for this to be done is if the story gives us the reunion the fan base has been asking for over 5 years now. Rick and Michonne finally get to reunite with their children at the end of the Ones Who Live miniseries, and it gives the two of them a nice conclusion after a series worth of struggles and hardship. However, we are still never given the reunion between Rick, Michonne, and the main members of the cast that have been there the entire story, like Maggie, Daryl, and Carol. We also never get to see how Rick reacts to all their close family members that passed while he was away, like Rosita, Tara, and many other members who are lost at the hands of the Whisperers. So the only thing that could potentially save The Walking Dead is the introduction of an Avengers Endgame level crossover that finally brings all of our main characters back together to face against one final threat. If this is something that is actually planned to happen in the future Walking Dead spin-offs, I have no idea. But without something on that level, The Walking Dead as a franchise may have finally had its last breath. Do you think The Walking Dead franchise still has potential to come back from its setbacks and reclaim its place as the most popular piece of pop culture in modern time? Definitely comment on the video and let me know how you feel. Leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more updates of The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon that drops at the end of this month. If y'all show enough love on this video, I'll review that. Also, the link to the Discord is down below. Thanks for watching. I love and appreciate you all. Sun God signing off.
I come in clutch like a genie. Don't talk unless you need me. You talk too much, you need it. All of my bitches look like models, she in love with me. When we link, it's flashing lights and cameras, got a blammer.